the 10 spot. And here we are. Boom. Like I said last time, I don't know how long this is going to last, but I do know that I committed to doing four of these, right? This was the first, well, this is the second one, I should say, four more of these, because I'm going to talk a little bit about this talk that I did and I built 6 years ago, and it's conveniently broken down into four sections. And I can get through each of those sections in the 15 minutes or so that I plan on spending with you, lovely people. So it'll work out really nicely. So that's what we're going to do. The talk is the face of success. The face is focus, awareness, communications, and execution. The genesis is my life was messed up, man. It was 2016 and things were not going the way I wanted them to at all. And it wasn't that I was lost, but maybe a little bit. I had just come off of about 8 years of being one of Detroit's biggest champions for turnaround and changing the energy and making this a more positive place to be. And I woke up one day in 2016 and realized that work was done. I was not needed for that anymore. The momentum was so strong and in our favor that I could stop doing that. And when you pour time, energy, effort into something for so very long, you become a little discombobulated, right? And it's like when people retire and then they die within a year after they retire, because like their purpose is feels gone. They're not sure what to do. And I didn't have my entire identity tied up in Detroit by any stretch of the imagination. But again, when you focus on changing the energy of something, that takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of practice, a lot of, for me, it's being in a mental place, being intentional, and literally focusing on shifting the energy. And when you stay in that space for a while, you got to figure out where you're going to put that focus next. And so, as I was sitting there thinking about success repeatedly and why I was having so little of it, especially after some of the things I had done prior to that moment, uh, I really started contemplating what are the things that drive success? What's needed? And I've done enough research and paid enough attention and read enough books and listened to enough shows and watched enough things about success that I thought maybe I'd have an idea how to do it. So I came up with four, and conveniently, they ended up spelling the word FACE as an acronym. So I was like, boom, the face of success is born. And I remember giving that talk to a group at Automation Alley back in October and November of 2016. And I told them, like I'll tell you, it was a note to self. The whole presentation was a get your shit together, man. Get straight on what you need to do so you can better serve other people, right? And more importantly, so you can help them better serve other people. One of my favorite TED Talks I've given was casting a positive stone, right? Creating that positive ripple. And that's been part of my life's work for the last, I don't know, 16 years or so. What year is it? 2006, Motor City Connect started. Yeah, 16 years or so. And I wanted to make sure that I was able to continue to do that, but also inspire and encourage and help others do the same. So the face of success was born. This talk is going to be about focus and the power of it. But like all good presentations, you got to have some kind of backstory. You got to know what you're getting into and why you're here. So that was that, man. That was your little backstory. So now you're all caught up and have an idea of why things happen the way they happen. So let's talk a little bit about focus. And let's talk a little bit about success. And let me say this. And this is a quote that's literally in my slide deck from a guy named Jack Hansen. And Jack Hansen says, to achieve success, you first need to define it for yourself. And I think a lot of people look at successful people and say, well, I want that, or I want this, or I want some of that and some of this. And one of the big challenges, especially around the area of focus, is we have to stay focused on a thing, right? Not some of this and some of that and a little bit over here and this, right? We need to get focused and dial it back. And this is true not only from the perspective of how you're going to be most likely to achieve it, but from the perspective of how the universe is going to be most likely to be able to help you. I want you to think Abraham Hicks once said that it takes about 17 seconds of sustained and consistent thought on a thing for that thing to be reached in the ethers, right? The law of attraction tells us that our thoughts are magnetic, they have magnetic resonance, that our thoughts escape into the ethers. They go out and couple with something that's like the thought, right? They attract the thing that the thought is, and they start bringing it to us. That process takes 17 seconds to connect with the item, right? So most of us don't sustain a thought for 17 seconds on anything. And so that first 17 seconds is the connection. The next 17 seconds is the gravity that starts pulling us or pulling it toward us. And if you can maintain it for another 17 seconds, and we're all the way up to 51 seconds, people, then you can actually start to get some traction in your attraction. And so it's a challenge because if I think about my life, or, and maybe this relates to you, there are days when I want a trip to the Caribbean. There are days when I want a boat that I can wake surf behind. There are days when I want nothing but pure and utter joy for my family. There are days when I want more trips, or different meals, or, all the different things that we think about that might make up success. Fat bank account. Yeah, that would be great to have too. More clients, right? So we're taking our focus and we're scattering it over and over and over to different things. So what we really want to do is define what success is for us in as short a way as possible, right? And so, sure, money's the thing, right? Because money is going to buy the boat, money's going to buy the trips, money's going to buy the meals. If I had more clients, I'd have more money, right? So, but we have to look at it a little bit deeper than just money, or you got to get really specific on how much money you're looking for, right? And just have that. In fact, at the very beginning of the reading of Think and Grow Rich, and it's not really a reading, it's a condensation by a gentleman named Earl Nightingale. And in fact, that was part of the reason this whole talk came together, is I listened to that Earl Nightingale condensation of Think and Grow Rich about 300 times in a 8-month period. He talks about being definite with your purpose. Definiteness of purpose is a line from Napoleon Hill's book. And he said, you have to get really clear and you have to write on a piece of paper what your definite aim is. And it should be a sentence. I will earn X amount of dollars by Y time delivering Q type of services or product, right? Boom, one sentence, write it somewhere. You're going to see it every day. And then think about that for 51 seconds. Focus on that for that period of time, because that's what it really, really takes. So, step one is get really clear on what it is that you want. Narrow it down, focus it in, stay laser focused on it, and think about it and visit it often. It will help immensely. Got to do it. It's absolutely got to be done. And then the other thing that you may want to do, and Simon Sinek got ridiculously famous for this idea of why. What's your why? What's the purpose behind it? What are you going to do with this, right? Because money is an avenue to achieve things. It's not the end result normally, it's the ability to buy the things that get you to that end result. So, what are some of the things you want to do? And then hold that feeling of having those things happen. There was a line in the movie Boiler Room. Ben Affleck did an okay ripoff of Alec Baldwin and Glenn Ross in the scene. But he said, Ben Affleck said, act as if. And if you think about act as if, and it's kind of fake it till you make it, and fake it till you make it's not the best advice I've ever heard. But if you can act as if you have something done, the likelihood of it getting done is far greater than if you act as if it's never going to happen. Does that make sense? Right? Because the universe responds to our tone, it responds to our being, it responds to our vibration. So acting as if sets you in a higher vibration than acting as if it won't. So it becomes really important to figure out what that why is and then act as if it's already a reality for you. So, some questions that you can ask yourself: who are you meant to be? What do you need to do, right? Your spirit is calling you to do something. You're at a soul level, you know what you're supposed to be doing. So, are you doing it? Are you acting as if that's the thing for you? It's a good question to think about. Who will you serve? Ultimately, you always got to know who you're targeting and who you're going after. And then what impact will you create for them? And that's it goes back into the what's in it for me category. Because if you're not communicating that, you're gonna miss out. And we'll get into the business of awareness and communications where we talk a lot more about that over the next couple of weeks. So, if you're not sure how to find these things, right? Not sure how to answer those questions, create space, take time, be alone with those thoughts. And it doesn't matter whether you journal or meditate or get into some sort of theta wave right before sleep and let your subconscious process that information. How you do it is up to you. But the key is you have to do it. Um, I'm going to leave you with a couple of thoughts here because I try and keep these to 15 minutes or so. My friend Rod Hairston, who is the founder of Envision You and the owner of the National Association of Sales Professionals, and runs a company called True Vision, and is a really, really high level coach and just an awesome dude, came up with the 4 laws of focus. And the 4 laws of focus are: one, what you focus on, you find. Right? Because when you keep looking for something, sooner or later, you're going to see it. It's going to materialize. Number 2, what you focus on grows. It expands, especially the more energy you put toward it, the bigger it can get. Number 3 is what you focus on seems real, right? Because now this is all you can see, and I don't want to get into the whole neuroscience behind why that happens, but you all know the phenomenon of I never see this car. I went out and bought this car. Now there's 7,000 of them on the road, right? There's a reason that happens. And maybe we'll get to that later. Someone can ask and I'll just tell you later. And then the 4th law of focus is what you focus on, eventually you become, right? So that act as if message transcends over time. The more you act like it, the more people start to see you like it. The more they see you like it, the more you become it in their minds. And all of a sudden, that reflection casts back on you and you become it in your mind too. I want to tell you, it takes about 66 days. That's the minimum length to change a habit, right? People talk about, it's 3 weeks. Yeah, it's 3 weeks to change a simple habit at best. But to do something that's complex, to do something that's going to be life changing, to do something that's bigger, on average, it's a 2-month plus process. So get settled in, get ready to do the work, and then actually do the work. And so, as far as staying focused goes, listen, we got to make sure that we remember what our purpose is, right? We got to know why we're doing it. And, I've said for years, when your why is strong enough, the hows take care of themselves. But if you're not even sure why you're doing it, it's not going to matter, right? So get crystal clear on that why and think about that often. And then my favorite line from Charlie Wahlberg has always been, start today, start again tomorrow, right? You can get going, you'll get derailed, but that's okay. You can just start again tomorrow. The derailing doesn't have to last forever. So stay focused on getting through it, because that's where the magic happens. All right. I think that's it for now. I think that's probably about the 16 minutes or so that I wanted to spend with you guys. And so I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. I hope you'll come and hang out with me next Tuesday, December 20th at 10 a.m. Whether you're on LinkedIn or on YouTube, I'll be here. And, I'll be doing this through January 3rd for sure. Now, whether I come back on January 10th, I don't know. I don't even know what's going to drive that. But for now, I'll see you real soon. I wish you a fantastic day. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, you let me know. Be well.